Okay, I'm back. It's been a long time since I made a video, but I decided to make one. Uh, and this is gonna be a terrible video because I didn't do any research. I did not. Yes, I did no research. So this is total no notes, as always for my videos. So this is just totally off the cuff. And a couple things. This is gonna be an anti-wokeness in gaming video. A couple things triggered me to just feel like doing a video here. First, as you see, I saw this video that's on the screen. This is a guy named Shokio. I remember a long time he was kind of big, and for some reason I knew about him. It was like 10 years ago or something. He was kind of big. He was a crazy. I think he was like a crazy Nintendo fanboy, if I remember. And I don't know what exactly. I don't remember exactly where I knew him from, but somehow I knew of him, and he was like this kind of famous character as a big Nintendo, like a caricature of a Nintendo fanboy, I guess, if I remember correctly. You know, like rah rah, Nintendo's the king, Nintendo's the best at everything, this kind of stuff. And I see he wasn't that popular. I don't even remember him, how popular he was. I mean, I see he only had 34.8k subscribers. He may have had a different account that he got banned on or something. I don't know. But anyways, like, trust me, I don't remember hardly anything about this guy, but I vaguely remember his name and everything. And I think he was like I said, he was kind of like in this certain age of YouTube, he was big at a time, I believe. If you've been around YouTube forever, there's some people that like wouldn't be considered big today, but in that day of YouTube, they were big. But anyways, so I just happened across this video of his, and I clicked on it because I remembered him. I was like, shock you! I haven't, like, that triggers something in my brain. Like, I haven't thought about that guy in freaking 10 years or something. It feels like he probably hasn't even had his channel for 10 years. My sense of time is all screwed up. But anyways, so I clicked it, and here he is talking about wokeness in gaming, and I haven't even watched this video, but I'm going to. It seems like from watching the beginning that he is pro woke, that he is in favor of being woke, and that he's gonna go on his video from the beginning of it. As you can see, I watched 2 minutes out of 41, but it looked like he was gonna be like, "Oh, these woke people are stupid," I mean, he's anti-woke. He was more pro-woke. Because he started off saying, like, oh, you've got these people that get so mad whenever they say, like, if it's a woman or if it's a black woman, they're so mad, I hate people that think that way. He's obviously framing it completely wrong. He's the one, the woke ones are the ones who get mad. The woke ones are the ones who got to enforce everything. And they're the ones who like, oh my God, it's a white male. We have to do away with this. We have to put only black women in video games. They're the ones that keep score, if you will. They keep score on everything. It's how much of this race, how much of that race do we have? And here's another thing about that. I've got a few, like, as usual, my videos are terrible. My thoughts go all over the place. I don't have notes. I don't have a script. But I have a few, like, generalized thoughts on this type of thing. For one, like, if you look at the United States, I get diversity and representation, and even to some extent, I support it, or I don't mind it at the very least. Okay, there are people close to me that are mixed race, that are like half black, half white, that I care about a lot, and little kids, and like I want them to see, as they say, themselves on TV, and in little dolls they play with, and all that stuff. That's good. I don't mind it to an extent, and I even support it to an extent, I'm glad that they grew up in a world where, to some extent, they see themselves on TV. They can buy dolls that look like themselves. That's good. I don't have a problem with that. But I do have a problem with, like, how far it goes a lot of times. That's what my problem is. And you have these people like Shokio. Well, I haven't watched this video, so maybe he completely flips it around and comes out anti-woke, but like I said, from the beginning, he was pro-woke. And these people are the ones who keep score. And they turn it around and they act like the anti-woke are the ones who keep scoring. No, we're not the like liberals always do that. They're the ones who start everything, and then they act like conservatives start everything. Conservatives don't start anything. That's the well, that's not true. They start some stuff, but point is, of course, there's exceptions to every rule. But like I said, it's the woke people that are going around in gaming and they're keeping score, and they're so mad if they see a white person. I remember when Cyberpunk was first announced on this one of the main forums. I refer to it constantly in a lot of my videos about video game stuff. It's called Reset Era. It's a video game forum. It came out of this other video game forum called Gaming Age Forum. That forum had a meltdown. And it's always been a terrible forum, but for whatever reason, I read it. I'm old and I actually read message boards. Everybody reads Reddit and Discord now. Message boards are kind of dead, but I still read Reset Era. It's like I said, it's kind of an old person's thing almost to even read a message board anymore. But this message board has always been super, super liberal. And like any liberal place, they're extremely totalitarian. You cannot have any kind of conservative opinion or you'll be banned instantly. That's what these tolerant people do. Like seriously, if you go on that forum and you don't toe the line, 100% they will ban you immediately. If you don't, the trans community is wonderful. This is wonderful. Every liberal cause is wonderful. Trump is the worst person. If you don't follow that line, 100% you will be banned immediately. And everybody knows after a while of posting there that this is kind of the way it is. So, I'm sure there are people there that have different opinions, but no one's going to speak up. Because, like I said, if you want to post on that forum, and it's a popular video game forum, granted within the limitations I said, it has some industry people that post there and things. But if you want to post on that forum, you better toe the line. You better either be quiet, like if you like Trump, or you think woke is out of control, and I don't even like Trump. That's another thing. What's funny about me is like all sides are going to hate me. I think Trump's a buffoon, and he's a moron, but the only thing about Trump is he is better than Kamala, so I wanted him to win. So that means, like, the Democrats who like Kamala hate me, and the Republicans who like Trump also hate me because I'll tell them Trump's an idiot. You know what I mean? So, but going back to all this stuff, talking about Reset Era, which is like a major forum that I see, it's like kind of almost my lens a lot of this. I don't post there, of course. I had an account there for a little while, but of course they banned me before long because I didn't toe their lines. But yeah, you have to. If you're going to post on that forum about politics, it's like unbelievably woke forum. And where was I? I forgot what the original reason I went off on this tangent was. So you can't say anything against woke on that forum, or you're instantly banned. That's the way liberals, these tolerant liberals are, or against LGBTQ, or against anything that's like liberal cause. So I forgot my train of thought here, because I forgot what I was originally talking about Reset Area and stuff about. Just how they're a major thing that I reference a lot. Message board, but I remember what it was now. It was about Cyberpunk and how when they first released the box art, and what does the box art have? It has this like white or Hispanic, whatever it is, guy in the front. And they were so mad. They were like, oh, what a generic, what trash. And they weren't just saying it because it was generic. They were mad that it was a man on the cover. They were furious. They were so angry. They hated it. To this day, that forum hates the game. You couldn't even. It wasn't just because of that. It was also because of something like CDPR. They once posted, an intern or something posted something that could be interpreted as like anti-trans on their Twitter. Like one time, an intern, and I don't even remember what it was. It was like kind of vague. It wasn't like he came out strongly or something. It was something, something really minor. Because of like those two things, the Twitter thing and the fact that Cyberpunk had a guy on the cover, they immediately decided that like CDPR was bad, CDPR was far right wing, and for like a long time you couldn't even post anything good about Cyberpunk, if I remember correctly. You could not post any positive thing about Cyberpunk on that forum. Like, that was a literal rule. Because, like, most games, if it's like a game sells good, they'll post like, oh, the developer posted PR that this game sold 10 million copies, and you'll have a thread about it. And some people may be like, oh, that's great, what a success. And some people may be like, oh, the game wasn't really good, it didn't deserve, whatever. But they'll post when a game has good. You were not allowed, I remember specifically, no one was allowed. I mean, I don't post there anymore, obviously, because I posted there for like a month because I was banned quickly, and thank goodness. But and that was like years ago. So I'm just saying that you weren't even allowed to post any positive like sales figures about the game or anything. That's how incredibly intolerant these people are, just incredible stuff. And like I said, if you would look at CDPR, they would, everything on their website, everything about their corporate statements would be like, oh, we 100% support LGBTQ, we support diversity and inclusion. But because all this, they toe the line completely, but it's not enough for the liberals. It's not enough for the left. Because one time, like 5 years ago, an intern that they immediately fired posted something that might have been a little bit like anti-trans or something. Like I said, I don't even remember what it was on their Twitter because of that. And then, like I said, because they had a male protag on their game cover. It's like they got to be blackballed for the next 15 years. It's insane, these people. You want to talk about intolerant Nazis, That's what they are. They're the modern day Nazis. They look for the smallest thing, like you didn't toe the line, you're going to jail, and your family's going to jail, and it's just like these people. They're supposedly anti-death penalty. Liberals are supposed to be all, and then they're like so happy this United Healthcare CEO got assassinated. They're so happy about it. It's like, wait a minute, I thought you were anti-death penalty. What is wrong? If nothing else, like if there's just somebody on the street and he walks up and kills somebody else, the liberals will be like, oh, we can't execute him. The death penalty is barbaric, and we have to. But they're like, oh, it's so wonderful that the CEO got killed. Well, what did he get? He got the death penalty. What is wrong with these people? They're so hypocritical. They're so full of it. And they're always like, oh, we need to be lenient on prison sentences. We need to not come down hard on these criminals. Then when it's like the January 6th protesters happen, they're like, oh, throw them in solitary confinement for life. They're so full of it and such liars and hypocritical to their bones. It makes me insane. Or another good, I always see, this is why my videos suck, because I end up talking about every kind of far-ranging topic, and I have no like common sense to like stay on topic. But another good one to me is like how the liberals are all for Ukraine. And if you're really looking to Ukraine, they have a lot of Nazi history, and like they have a lot of Nazis in their military and things like that. And there was some kind of scandal where like a Nazi spoke in front of the Canadian Congress, and everybody, Ukrainian Nazi, a Ukrainian with ties to Nazism, spoke in like Canada's parliament and got a standing ovation. It's completely memory hold, as conservatives say. Meaning like completely not covered and erased from the media, but that happened. So what is it? It's liberals. They're supporting Nazis because it's in Ukraine. They don't care. They have no principles. They support Nazis. They support whatever. They support, like I said, they support the death penalty, even though they say they don't. They support it. They sure support it in the case of a healthcare CEO, as long as he's not black. That's another thing that. Peter Schiff, I got this from him, is like, imagine if the United Healthcare CEO had been black. None of this would be happening. They'd be saying like, oh, look, this proves it's open season on black people, all this stuff. Nobody would have been like, yeah, he had it coming, Or same thing with, he was talking about Jordan Neely got killed on that subway, and people were saying like, oh, the Robert Penny or whatever the Marine's name was, he just walked because he was white. And he's like, and Schiff was like, no, he only got charged because he was white. Like, if he'd have been black, or if the person he killed had been white, like, they never would have been charges filed. Are you serious? Anyways. But, oh, yeah, back to the woke thing and the gaming and a few points I wanted to make. There are a few big points I wanted to make here. First of all, the other reason that I wanted to make this video, besides shokio. Oh, and so I get back to finish my point. So this Reset era was all mad about Cyberpunk because they had a man on the cover. So that's what these woke people do. If you think for a second that Shakio's talking about, oh, these guys get mad if a woman's the protagonist. Well, you get mad 10 times as much as if a man's on the protagonist, and don't act like you don't. The woke side gets 10 times madder because like I said, I've seen it. Don't lie. I seen it when the Cyberpunk cover came out. There were a bunch of people on Reset Air that were mad because it was a male on that cover. They were mad as hell, They were, oh, so generic. Oh, why does it got to be a man all the time, Oh, it's a white man, figures, They were furious. And nobody says that openly, like if there's a woman. Well, maybe people do say it now, but it's on a few corners of the internet. Like, there's a little bit of on YouTube, and there's mostly on Twitter, where conservatives aren't banned. Because normally they're just banned. If you say anything against the woke establishment, you're just banned on like Facebook, Instagram, etc. There's a few places where people are allowed to speak their mind a little bit, and so you get some right-wing corners, like YouTube and Twitter mostly. It's not like YouTube isn't super liberal as well, but they do allow some freedom. But anyways, getting back to this, point is, I guess getting back to my original point, he's Shokio says, oh well, the people get so angry at a woman protagonist. No, you're the one who gets angry, buddy. Liar, and you know it. You get angry if there's a white male on anything, because I've seen it with the Cyberpunk cover, so you can't say it's not true. And even Cyberpunk, it's not a white male protag, is it? I don't know exactly how it works, but you make your own character. It's a character creator. You can make a woman, you can make a trans, you can make whatever the hell you want. It's not like there's a male protag in Cyberpunk. There are no male protags anymore. That's the next point I wanted to make in this video. Is that we're rapidly coming to the point, and I saw this in the Game Awards, where male protags are banned. Like, it's getting that bad. Every new game, it seems like, has a female protagonist. Look at GTA 6 even. They have this woman. I guess is going to be the main character. Now, weirdly, I don't mind it as much in GTA 6. Because at least she's hetero, and at least she's pretty, and at least I believe that you'll probably play multiple characters, right? I don't really play GTA, but I believe that's how the series usually works. You play multiple characters. So you may play like, is this character? So you're probably going to play like the boyfriend guy of her. You'll probably have multiple characters. I don't know. But GTA 6 does not bother me as much, I will say. But you got a female protag. Now you have this new you just had Star Wars Outlaws come out with female protag, and it bombed. Like, all you have are female protagonists anymore. 100% almost. You got the Horizon series on Sony, female protags, female protagonist, And now you got, so the Naughty Dog games, Last of Us and all those, I think they had various protags, but they pretty much had like a lesbian woman, right? Ellie or whatever the heck her name is. I don't play those games. But, so, at the Game Awards, Naughty Dog comes out their big new game, Naughty Dog, the jewel of the big Sony fanboy crowd, the hordes of Sony fanboys, and it's like, oh, you got a black lesbian, and they're all mad. And I swear they're more racist than they are misogynist or anti-trans or anything. Because I think people are just mad because she's black, basically. They're not mad because it's a woman or that, whatever, she's a lesbian. They're mad because she's black, let's be honest. Which I don't agree with that, because I'm mad about all those things. The thing is, I'm not against any of those things. Like I said, here's the thing. Like, Tomb Raider, it's funny. Tomb Raider used to be a thing when I was a kid, before woke was really big. And like, it had a woman, obviously, right? And I didn't have a problem with it. And you might say, well, yeah, because she's I guess this is like my opinion versus others. Like, I don't know. I just see it as like women protags. And I think some of the more unsavory elements, they just want like white, pretty women. And that's not me. I like black women, Hispanic, more than white, really. As far as attractiveness, so I don't care about that, but it's funny. Like we never had a problem when we were kids. We had that's another thing that amazes me is like before there was woke, we still had there was always like look at Star Wars. You had Lando Calrissian. You had Princess Leia. I guess woke people don't like Princess Leia because oh my gosh, she was just this passive character. But was she? I don't remember the movies that much. But no, she wasn't. She wasn't like a passive wallflower. You know what are you talking? And then you had like Lando Calrissian. You had it was black. You had all these. You had everybody represented in games from in movies like 40, 60 years ago. Like you didn't need all this woke crap. It was already there. This woke stuff isn't necessary. A good example is Tomb Raider. You had a female heroine. Here's why, and I tried to think about why did I not mind Tomb Raider, but I minded like all these female protagonists today. And there's a few reasons. One, because back then it didn't feel forced. It felt like if somebody wanted to do a game with a woman character, they did a game with a woman character. It didn't feel like, well, you have to. That's what it feels like now. It's just a feel thing. I don't have evidence. I can't say, well, the evidence is obvious, but, I can't say like, oh, I know this company was forced to do, but they were by woke people. So that's the difference in Tomb Raider. Well, I didn't have a problem with Tomb Raider back in the day with the woman hero. Is because it didn't feel forced and it was the exception. You had mostly male protagonists and then you had occasional female, which is like how real life is. I mean, I'm sorry. That's the other thing I want to talk about. And this is going to make people so mad, but it's so obvious. And people are so fake about this crap. They want to be like, oh, women can do everything men can. On the one side of their mouth, but I don't understand where the line is, why people don't admit that women cannot do everything men can. Like, that's some sort of controversial statement sometimes, but other times everybody understands it. Like, if you were to say, like, all right, let's bet $10 million and let's just have 10 people off the street, fight. And if the 10 people that I pick win, I win $10 million, and your people all have to all be women and my people have to all be men. Like, immediately everyone would go, wait a minute, no, your people are going to win because they're men. Even if, like, one or two of the women is stronger, like 8 or 9 of the men are going to be stronger. Everybody knows that. It's a fact of nature. But yet we have to pretend like, oh, women are just as tough as men. Women are just as strong. They're not. And everybody knows it, So why are we doing this? We're, like, let's say, here's the thing. Like, if you went to Ukraine, and this is, people probably think I'm crazy on this, but it's just an example of a current war. If you go to Ukraine, I'm sure somebody has the stats on this. Between the Russian soldiers dying and the Ukrainian soldiers dying, what percent of those soldiers on the front lines are women, do you think? Now, I'm sure there's a few women soldiers, especially on the Ukrainian side, I think, because they want all the United States money. They kowtow to the United States left. So they have women in some positions of power, I guess, just to get our money. They don't really believe in it. And they may have some, like, women soldiers, I'm not sure. Probably not any frontline soldiers. But, so that Time and New York Times can write their little stories on, oh, the heroic female brigade, of Ukraine. I've seen a few of those stories, the fake stories. But anyway, so what percent do you think, I'm sure somebody has this, but it's probably hard to search because nobody's going to want to talk about it. What percent of soldiers dying, people dying in Ukraine every day are women? What do you think? I'm talking about the frontline soldiers, not like, okay, they're living in a city and their house gets bombed. That's unfortunate. I'm sure it happens a lot. Then, okay, there's women in houses too. They're going to die some too. I'm not saying no women die in Ukraine. Obviously they do. I'm saying what percentage of frontline soldiers fighting on the front lines, Russia and Ukraine, are women? I bet you it's less than 1%. That would be my guess. Like, there's no way it's even 5%, but I would guess less than 1%. So, I mean, that's just a fact of life, and nobody talks about that. Nobody ever is going to talk about that, Nobody ever is going to say, well, 99% of the people dying in Ukraine are men, But yet we got to turn on our video games and all these women fighting, all these women warriors, they're all women. It's not realistic. It's Nazism. It's like an enforced bull. It's like apartheid. It's like women are 50% of the population, but they're 100% of the badass warriors in video games anymore. And you can't say, oh no, they're not. They're still a minority. I bet like I said, out of gendered protagonists, they gotta be the majority at this point. And like I said, it's unrealistic because in real life, the people fighting are men. Like in Ukraine war, it's men. People in Syria. Syria just had a big thing. Like the rebels ousted the Syrian government and all this. All those were men. All the people dying in that are men. All the people fighting there are men. That's nature. That's reality. And it's fake and forced when you have women. Oh, here's this woman badass assassin. How many women badass assassins do you know? There's none. It's not realistic. There might be one somewhere in the world. I don't know. But for every one there's 100 men. And really, I don't even know. Is there one badass woman assassin, quote unquote, in the world? I don't know. There sure ain't one in the Russian army. There sure ain't one in the Ukrainian army. There might be some women soldiers in the United States because we're woke. But I don't know if there's any. I doubt there's any that exactly, are top 1% SEALs or something like that. I know they have women in the SEALs now, I think, but they just had to lower the standards to let them in. That's what they do. The whole army does that. So yeah, so that's my point. And I see the same thing. There's some Apple movie I saw the other day. It's called The Gorge. It stars Miles Teller, who I really like, but it was like, oh, it's a woman sniper assassin and a man sniper assassin in the movie. It's like, there's no women sniper assassins. There's not any. Stop this. There might be 5 in the entire world. That's not a thing that exists. Yet in our movies, it's like all the women got to be these badass assassins, these badass fighters, these badass warriors. And I don't mind it again. Like if you make a fighting game, and this was going back decades, so this isn't a woke thing, but like you're gonna have some women characters. Okay, fine. I can't define it, but I know when like if you have a shooter like the Marvel Heroes that just came out. Some of the characters are going to be women. I don't have a problem with all that stuff when it feels natural, when it's not like your only choice. But when you do a single player game and your protag is some kind of badass warrior assassin and it's a woman, yes, I have a problem with it. Here's the thing. I'm glad this happened because I hate Sony. And so the new Naughty Dog game is going to bomb. You know it is. The new Witcher 4 is going to bomb. Or it may not even bomb, but it's not going to be like a huge hit. And I'm really glad. I mean, like Witcher 4, it's not even coming out until like 2028 at the earliest. Like it's going to bomb. It's going to put CDPR under, probably. Like, I imagine it'll still be popular because to an extent it doesn't matter if you play as a man or as a woman. Like, you can still enjoy the game. It's just pixels. Who cares? It does bother me on some level, but, So Witcher 4, like, it's going to be huge. I don't know. I think it's really going to hurt its popularity. Same with this new Naughty Dog game for sure. And I'm just laughing at it because like these companies lose so much money. Look at Star Wars Outlaws. They just made Star Wars Outlaws, starring as a woman. No one wanted to play it as a woman. It lost so much money. And they do this with movies all the time too. They're always coming out with these movies. Every movie's like a woman now. Every remake's like a woman. Like they remade Ghostbusters is all women. Everything has to be women now. You want to talk about Nazi and intolerance? It's forced. It's an iron law. It's like you're not allowed to do anything with a man nowadays. That's what the left has, and then they say like, "Oh, you get mad if it's not a man." Like you're the ones enforcing everything. You're the ones that are causing all this. Started it. You started it. And so but you see this so often with movies. Like all these movies, like when you see that it's a female in a male role traditionally, you just know it's gonna bomb. And not always, but like 90% of the time it does bomb. And they lose so much money off of this stuff, Like they lose millions and billions forcing this woke crap down our throats. And they deserve it, and I'm glad. And Naughty Dog's gonna lose money on this next game, this Intergalactic or whatever it's called. CDPR is probably gonna lose a bunch of money on that game. Like I said, I'm not quite so sure on Witcher. I think people accept that one more, and it'll still probably do okay, but it could have done a lot better. You can go on and on with this stuff. So yeah, that's what I have to say about it. Oh, and I forgot to make one more major point, which is a lot of times people say like, I just said it's unrealistic to have like women special forces, women assassins, all this stuff, and people will next say, well, that's stupid. Like I made this argument, and there's this video game called Destiny 2 I play all the time. And the PvP side, there's this thing called hand cannons, and they're really overpowered, and I hate them. I don't like playing as them, using them, and they're pistols. That's what they are, basically pistols. And here they are, like in the game, they're like more powerful than most of the rifles. If they're more powerful than all the rifles, forget most of them. They're always the most powerful thing. The balancing team makes sure of it. So I'm like, that's not realistic. In real life, I shoot guns in real life. Like a rifle is so much more powerful than a pistol. It's ridiculous. Not every case. Of course, they make like a pistol called the 500 Smith & Wesson Magnum. It's really powerful. Of course, there are more powerful rifles than that, of course, at the top end. But generally speaking, like there was a case, I think Trump got mad once because a cop, he didn't go into school. He had like a Glock sidearm, and in the school was some guy with an AR. And having experience with both of those, I don't blame him. You don't want to go off against an AR rifle with a pistol. You're going to get made into chopped Swiss cheese, Having experience and knowing. Like, those AR-15s are so accurate, so powerful. They kill you with something called hydrostatic shock. The bullet's moving so fast, it's not just a bullet. Like, they're blowing holes in you. Like, and that's a weak rifle. A 5.56 round is not like a super powerful rifle. Not a weak rifle, but and like against an average Glock 9mm pistol or 45 pistol, like in the accuracy and the lack of recoil, like I said, of course you can get lucky, hit a shot with a pistol or whatever, surprise the guy with the rifle. You can win a fight with a pistol against a rifle, but just generally a rifle is so much more powerful than a pistol. And in this game, you have these pistols called hand cannons that are like way more powerful than rifles. And I complain about it sometimes on that angle. I'll be like, it's so unrealistic. Like these pistols, in real life, pistols don't beat rifles. And people will immediately go, well, that's stupid. We're playing this game where people have magic. They kind of do in Destiny. Not really magic, but like you have these special moves where you can, do all kind of crazy stuff. Like one of them, the Warlock, you can throw like a big giant glob of void energy. That they have special moves and stuff. So they're like, you're talking about realism in this game where you throw giant globs of purple energy. What are you talking about, man? That's like, well, if that was the case, then why don't you just have like little babies be the main characters? I mean, if you're just totally unrealistic off the rails, like why have all these women protagonists? Why not have little 2-year-old toddlers be the protagonists? That's my response to people who are like, oh, who cares if it's unrealistic? It's a video game. I'm like, well, then have little babies be the protagonists. Have dogs, play as dogs, walking, talking dogs. That's unrealistic too. At some point, everybody has limits to the unrealism they're willing to tolerate, So that's, I want to just get in my response to people who go, oh, it's a video game. When you say like it's unrealistic and unnatural to have all these women protagonists that are badass assassins, then they'll go, well, it's video games, it's not realistic. And I'll go, well, yeah, then why don't you just make a baby, a 2-year-old toddler in diapers be the protagonist? It's all about being unrealistic, Like, everybody's unrealism has limits. Anyway, so that's all I wanted to say. Just make a few points there. Like, this woke stuff is getting bad. And I'm personally, I don't play Sony exclusive anyway, so I don't care about this Intergalactic game. And I won't play Witcher 4 anyway, but I boycott stuff with the women. Like, I probably would have given Star Wars Outlaws a shot for sure, or I would have considered it, but it had a female protagonist. I immediately wrote it off. I'm not playing that, It's a case-by-case basis, but most times if I see like a female protagonist, I'm not playing it. I'm not playing y'all's woke games. I don't care if you like it. I don't care if you call me big. Whatever you want to do. I don't care. I'm not accepting this stuff. Anyways, so that's my video.